Now, once once they was forced back to the north, they couldn't go back up to the north because that's where the Gentiles was. This was the work of God. No man could do this. So this is when they came down. Only people that was down to the south part of the region in that area was black peoples out of Ham, which we can call Canaanites. Three nation divided in. So they took on wives, which was 100% of the black race, but the seed part, which was named Israel, all 12, all 8 tribes, was 50% black and 50% white, having a genetic color code. All but the poor young men that were born by the concubines of Rachel and Leah. They was Egyptian because at that time these people are Canaanite. These people serving these people, the black people always have been serving because it was spoken of in the early prophecies above when Noah cursed Ham and said he would be a servant to his brother. Well, but when they came down, Judea came down and married a woman of the Canaanites. The rest of them came down and married a woman of the Canaanites. Joseph married a woman of a Canaanite, which was an Egyptian. All of these people were 100% black. All of these people were 100% black. This increased pigmentation from 50% black to of the children of Abraham to about 75 to 96.414% black. This is what happened. Created them back in the same status quo that they were when the first man was created, in the same state of Adam or similar to. I said this. Now, that brought on this. Exodus chapter 29, verse 1. Take one young bullock and 2 rams without blemish. This was 430 years after Egypt. God promised them 400 years in Egypt. Now, next part, the bullocks, the ram, and the ram. Follow me close. God had Moses to create, Exodus chapter 25, an ark of a covenant. The ark was to represent the 12 tribes of Israel. In doing so, God had to create a situation for the law of Moses to be placed into this ark of covenant. Even though it was an ark made of gold and everything, he had to make it gold because these were the pride of earth, these 12 tribes. So he had the law of Moses placed into the ark of the covenant. Had the names of the 12 tribes written on the law, on the ark of the testimony, upon which he placed the law of Moses into. Symbolically, these become the 12 tribes of Israel, that the law of Moses was to be placed in the hearts of these 12 peoples, 12 nations, out of the seed of Abraham, out of the seed of Isaac, out of the seed of Jacob, from one generation unto another. Well, the law of Moses he gave Moses in Horeb was not fulfilled until the sacrifice that God placed over here in Genesis, which that woman had taken and made 3 mixtures out of. It could not go forward until the mercy seat and the sacrifice itself was complete, that Jesus had to come down and die, and Jesus had to take with him to the cross his 2 witnesses. So what God do to signify that this earth God would receive these spirits up in heaven to make them an attachment onto Jesus Christ so they can be born into the earth to come down and be sacrificed. The symbol started off as a beast of prey trampling upon the face of the earth as a heifer 3 years old, and she goat 3 years old, a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove and a young pigeon. The she goat was 3 years old. The ram, the bullock, the heifer was 3 years old. The she goat was 3 years old, and ram was 3 years old. That means in the 4 men of 3 years after the first one would be slain, which would be the number 2 goat, John the Baptist, the rest of these bullocks and the ram would have to be slain at least 3. And don't go over 3 years. They'd have to be slain at least 3 years. 3 years after, before this covenant would be complete. But God gave you a pigeon and a dove, dove and a young pigeon, to let you know that these two was not going to be separated. They was going to be joined one unto the other. You would see one, but you would see two, but you wouldn't see but one of them, because one will remain in the blood of the lamb, which would be represented by the turtle dove. Just like the ram would be the turtle dove, by these being the flock, not being the same birds of the feather, but they is fowls of the air, being not separated. This one will represent the bullock, because this here one is separated from this. This bullocks and this shepherd is not of the same pedigree. Now, these two would symbolize the bullocks, the pigeon, the bullocks, turtle dove, the ram. This ram would be slain first, and leaving these two yet connected, because all of them came down from heaven, spoken of in Isaiah chapter 3, together as one component. God had Moses create a mercy seat, and Exodus, chapter 25, to place up on the ark of the covenant after he placed the law in this ark. One cherubim will represent the bullocks. The other cherubim will represent the secondary goat. The voice that you heard coming down from heaven speaking between these two cherubim, that he will commune with you from the foundation of the word until right now to the end, when he spoke about coming. They will come from the mouth of this ram, which would be Jesus Christ. He will speak among his two witnesses spoken of in Revelation chapter 11, when he said he will speak between you. He said, these are my two witnesses. These are the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, preparing to go up from the earth, Deuteronomy, after the law was established, Isaiah the prophet spoke concerning this matter. In Isaiah chapter 1, 6, 1-3, he spoke up to angels in the year the king Isaiah had died. He saw the Lord sitting up high, and he saw a serpent, and this God's glory filled the train, filled the temple of the earth. He saw an angel having 2 wings covering the face, 2 wings covering the feet, but the 2 wings in the middle upon which they flew with. It's the same replica as God speaking from heaven between the wings of these 2 wings. 1 wing covering this face and each other. These 2 wings covering the face, which is the 2 wings. These covering that, which is 2 wings. But the voice of God was speaking between them. He was the one that brought them down to be born. Well, during St. Luke, chapter 1, showing you this